New cars are supposed to bring peace-of-mind warranties, fresh engineering, and years of worry-free driving. But what if some of the newest vehicles on the road are failing far sooner than anyone expected? In this video, we're counting down 15 brand new cars that are reportedly failing fast enough to raise real concerns, moving from questionable choices to models that many buyers may want to think twice about. And make sure you stay until the end, because some of the most surprising entries come from brands people usually trust the most. The XT5 is an interesting case because it's been around since 2017, largely within the same generation, with no truly ground-up redesign for roughly 8 years. And that naturally raises a fair question: if Cadillac has had nearly a decade to refine it, why do many of the same complaints keep surfacing? Over time, Consumer Reports has withdrawn its recommendation for certain model years, citing owner feedback that points to serious concerns. Some owners have reported major transmission repairs or full replacements, along with drive system issues and recurring electrical problems. Then there's another complaint that's hard to ignore: poor weather sealing around the sunroof, which according to multiple owner reports can allow water to leak into the cabin. Picture this: you spend over $50,000 on a luxury crossover, and during a heavy rainstorm, water starts dripping inside the vehicle. For a brand that markets itself on comfort and refinement, that's not just disappointing, it feels almost surreal. Unfortunately, this isn't an isolated story, and it's exactly why the XT5 continues to raise eyebrows despite its long time on the market. Now, this is where things start to get really interesting. Chevrolet rolled out the fully redesigned 4th-generation Equinox for the 2025 model year. New platform, sharper styling, slim LED lighting, and a huge touchscreen up front. It all looks impressive on paper and very modern for the segment, but once you look beneath the surface, the picture becomes far less flattering. Powertrain-wise, buyers get only one choice: a turbocharged 1.5-liter 4-cylinder. Front-wheel drive models are paired with a CVT, while all-wheel drive versions use an 8-speed automatic. No hybrid option, no larger engine, just that single setup. Early owner survey data has pushed the Equinox toward the bottom of its reliability rankings for the segment. The complaints aren't minor either. Owners have reported serious transmission problems, fluid leaks, and computer-related failures. Even the in-car electronics, arguably one of the Equinox's main selling points, are reportedly unstable. Some owners describe infotainment screens that randomly reboot while driving, or worse, go completely black at highway speeds. As for performance, the 1.5-liter turbo feels fine in city traffic, where light throttle masks its limitations. But when you actually need power merging or passing on the highway, it delivers a lot of noise with very little urgency. For a brand new generation that's supposed to represent a fresh start, the 2025 Equinox is already raising red flags that buyers may want to think twice about. Genesis introduced the GV80 in 2021 as a first-generation model and positioned it as the brand's flagship luxury SUV meant to go head-to-head with BMW, Mercedes-Benz, and Audi. On paper, it looks like a serious contender. In practice, however, owner feedback has raised some uncomfortable questions. The GV80's reliability rating has been downgraded in certain model years, largely based on owner-reported issues. Among the more concerning complaints are problems related to the differential, which is a critical drivetrain component. There have also been reports involving fuel pump and fuel injection failures, climate control systems malfunctioning, as well as steering and suspension concerns. Fuel economy doesn't help its case either. The 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 is rated at around 18 mpg combined, which is underwhelming for a vehicle priced anywhere from roughly $58,000 to $90,000. For many buyers, that means paying luxury car money while absorbing both high fuel costs and growing reliability doubts. Then, there's an issue that has proven especially frustrating for owners: battery drain. Multiple posts on Genesis owner forums describe repeated dead batteries with no clear resolution. One owner claimed their 2025 GV80 experienced 5 dead batteries in just 5 months. Even after a replacement by the dealer, the problem reportedly continued. For a vehicle that's supposed to represent the very best Genesis has to offer, These kinds of recurring complaints make the GV80 feel far less reassuring than its upscale design and branding might suggest. And here we have a very familiar story. The GMC Terrain entered its fully redesigned third generation for the 2025 model year with production beginning around October 2024. GMC gave it a dramatic makeover out, went the much-criticized push-button shifter, replaced by a traditional column-mounted gear selector. In came a massive 15-inch vertical touchscreen, along with a bold truck-inspired front end designed to visually align the Terrain with the Yukon and Sierra. On the surface, it finally looks like a truly upscale compact SUV. The problem is, many of these vehicles have barely accumulated any mileage, yet serious concerns are already emerging. According to Consumer Reports, the Terrain has lost its recommended status shortly after launch due to troubling owner feedback. Reports point to significant transmission issues, fluid leaks, and a growing list of computer and electrical glitches that appear to cascade across multiple systems. What makes this especially alarming is how quickly the situation developed. This was a brand new platform with a new transmission, and Consumer Reports initially leaned toward an anticipated recommendation. That changed fast. In a remarkably short time, the data shifted from optimism to concern, with reliability ratings dropping sharply. And this isn't speculation, it's based on real-world owner data collected through Consumer Reports' extensive annual survey. For a vehicle that just hit the market, losing confidence this early is not a good sign, and it puts the 2025 Terrain in an uncomfortable spotlight before it's even had a chance to prove itself. The Mercedes-Benz E-Class was fully redesigned for the 2024 model year, ushering in a new generation packed with the brand's latest technology and one of the most visually striking interiors in the segment. On the mechanical side, the E350 comes with a turbocharged four-cylinder paired with a mild hybrid system delivering smooth, refined power. In real-world driving and published testing, it can return around the high 20s mpg combined, which is respectable for a mid-size luxury sedan. The powertrain itself feels polished overall, though some drivers have noted a momentary hesitation off the line, often attributed to the engine's stop-start system. On its own, that's more of an annoyance than a deal-breaker. Where things take a sharper turn is reliability. Consumer Reports has lowered the E-Class's reliability rating based on owner survey data pointing to a range of issues. These include transmission-related complaints, brake system problems, persistent electrical glitches, and concerns with body hardware such as trim and components not holding up as expected. Add in reports of unusual noises and fluid leaks, and the ownership experience starts to look far less premium than the badge suggests. At a price range of roughly $64,000 to $93,000, buyers expect near-flawless execution, especially from a model often marketed as the benchmark of German engineering. When Consumer Reports says it cannot recommend the E-Class due to reliability concerns, that's not just a red flag for shoppers, it's a serious credibility hit for Mercedes-Benz itself. Alright, here's another redesign that hasn't gone quite the way Buick likely hoped. The Buick Enclave entered its all-new third generation for the 2025 model year, and Buick made a very big deal out of it. This was supposed to be a clean-sheet transformation. Visually, it's a dramatic departure from the past. The exterior draws heavy inspiration from the Wildcat EV concept, and inside, there's a massive 30-inch curved display stretching across the dashboard, something that looks more at home in a concept car than a family SUV. Under the hood, Buick dropped the longtime V6 and replaced it with a new turbocharged 2.5-liter four-cylinder, producing around 328 horsepower, paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The Enclave is now longer, wider, and taller, and for the first time ever, Buick even offers 22-inch wheels from the factory. On paper, it sounds like a bold step forward. In reality, early ownership reports tell a much messier story. According to Consumer Reports, owner survey data has raised serious red flags almost immediately after launch. Multiple owners have reported major transmission failures on vehicles with very low mileage. On Enclave owner forums, one 2025 model owner claimed their SUV had been stuck at the dealership for more than 5 weeks, dealing with a combination of transmission issues, airbag warning lights, and a completely non-functional lane assist system. The situation reportedly escalated to the point where lawyers became involved after months of unresolved problems. Another owner described waiting months for transmission repairs, along with the installation of a missing turbocharger. A missing turbocharger on a brand-new SUV costing roughly $46,000 fresh off the assembly line is the kind of detail that's hard to ignore. Adding to the frustration, that eye-catching 30-inch curved screen has also been reported to randomly go black while driving, taking critical vehicle controls with it. For a vehicle Buick positioned as a flagship comeback, both technologically and mechanically, these early reliability complaints are deeply concerning. When a brand new model starts generating this level of owner frustration so quickly, it suggests problems that go far beyond simple first-year growing pains. The 8th-generation Hyundai Sonata hybrid, introduced for the 2020 model year, delivered exactly what it promised at first: outstanding efficiency. In Consumer Reports testing, it returned around 44 miles per gallon overall, which is genuinely impressive for a mid-size sedan, and helped make it a go-to recommendation for fuel-conscious buyers. Unfortunately, that reputation hasn't held up as well over time. Consumer Reports has since withdrawn its recommendation after newer owner survey data pointed to a series of reliability concerns. The most serious involved the hybrid battery system, with reports describing not just minor software glitches, but full battery system failures. Beyond that, owners have flagged fuel system problems, engine-related electrical issues, and even climate control systems failing outright. The driving experience has also taken a hit. The Sonata hybrid uses a 6-speed automatic transmission, and some owners report rough, clunky shifts that undercut the smooth, quiet, efficiency-focused character the car is supposed to deliver. As a result, the Sonata hybrid has slipped from being a recommended high-efficiency sedan to earning a below-average reliability rating in Consumer Reports' latest data. That's a steep drop and a sobering reminder that strong fuel economy alone doesn't guarantee long-term peace of mind. The Kia Sorento has been in its 4th generation since the 2021 model year. It's not brand new, but it's still recent enough that buyers reasonably expect most of the early issues to have been sorted out by now. Unfortunately, that hasn't entirely been the case. The problems with this model associated with the dual-clutch transmission DCT found in the higher-spec models. And anyone who's lived with a dual-clutch in stop-and-go traffic knows how unpleasant it can be. Jerky engagement, hesitation off the line, and constant frustration during everyday driving. Owner feedback, cited by Consumer Reports, goes beyond rough behavior. Reports include transmission slipping software and computer glitches, brake-related issues, and electrical accessories that randomly stop working. Taken together, these problems seriously undermine what's supposed to be a comfortable, family-friendly mid-size SUV. Kia often counters concerns like these with its well-known 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, and on the surface, that sounds incredibly reassuring. But here's the fine print many shoppers miss: that warranty only applies to the original owner. It does not fully transfer to a second owner. So if you're considering a used Sorento, thinking you're protected by that long warranty, the coverage is far more limited than it appears. For a vehicle that once stood out for its value and practicality, these ongoing transmission and reliability concerns have clearly taken a toll on the Sorento's reputation. This one is a big deal. The Chevrolet Traverse entered its all-new 3rd generation for the 2024 model year, and GM hyped it heavily. Internally and in marketing, it was even positioned as a kind of baby Tahoe. Everything about it was supposed to signal a fresh start. Chevrolet ditched the longtime V6 and replaced it with a turbocharged 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, producing about 328 horsepower paired with a new 8-speed automatic transmission. The redesign also brought a massive 17.7-inch touchscreen and a completely new, truck-inspired exterior that looks far more aggressive than the outgoing model. Production kicked off in February 2024, meaning these vehicles were barely off the assembly line. And that's where the problems began. Many pointed to catastrophic transmission failures occurring almost immediately. In June 2024, just 4 months after production began, GM issued a service bulletin citing out-of-spec clutch components that could require full transmission replacement. Then came another bulletin in November 2024 addressing damaged turbine shaft seals causing transmission fluid leaks. In January 2025, yet another bulletin followed, this time for loose transmission pump bolts, once again leading to leaks. Real-world owner stories paint an even harsher picture. One owner reportedly purchased a brand-new 2024 Traverse in May, only to have the transmission fail at just 3,300 miles. The vehicle has been sitting at the dealership ever since, with no clear timeline for repair and no meaningful answers from service advisors. For a model that was supposed to mark a bold new chapter for the Traverse nameplate, this rapid succession of transmission failures is deeply troubling. When a brand new redesign runs into this many serious issues, this early, it's no longer about first-year quirks, it's about fundamental reliability. And before we move on to the next 6 worst offenders, if you're getting value from this breakdown, go ahead and hit that like button. And once again, it's the same story, almost beat for beat. The GMC Acadia entered its all-new 4th generation for the 2024 model year, riding on a fresh redesign and a brand-new platform. Like its corporate siblings, the Traverse and Enclave, it dropped the old V6 in favor of the same turbocharged 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, paired with the same new 8-speed automatic transmission. Unfortunately, it also inherited the same problems. Many owners have raised serious concerns that showed up almost immediately. Owners have reported transmission fluid leaks, complete transmission replacements on vehicles with fewer than 10,000 miles, and brake-related issues layered on top of that. Add in electrical accessories that randomly stop working, and the ownership experience starts to feel unstable very quickly. The driving experience hasn't escaped criticism either. That turbo 4-cylinder, while powerful on paper, is often described as obnoxiously loud under load with an engine note that feels out of place in a vehicle positioned as a near-luxury mid-size SUV. Some owners also complain that the front seats are flat and poorly supportive to the point where long drives become genuinely uncomfortable. Fuel economy doesn't soften the blow. With around 20 miles per gallon combined, many owners point out that a traditional V6 could likely deliver similar efficiency while sounding smoother and feeling more appropriate for the Acadia's size and price. For a clean-sheet redesign that was supposed to elevate the Acadia, these early reliability and comfort complaints suggest GM may have rushed this platform to market before it was truly ready. The Genesis GV60 launched for the 2023 model year as the brand's first dedicated electric SUV and its official entry into the EV space. It was meant to showcase Genesis' future bold design, cutting-edge tech, and premium electric performance. Instead, early ownership data suggests many buyers ended up paying luxury money to participate in what feels uncomfortably close to a real-world beta test. The most serious concern centers on a critical component known as the ICCU Integrated Charging Control Unit. This unit is essentially the brain of the vehicle's charging system. When it fails, the GV60 cannot charge at all, turning a $52,000 to $71,000 electric SUV into a very expensive driveway ornament. This isn't a fringe issue. The ICCU problem has triggered a large-scale recall affecting tens of thousands of Hyundai and Genesis EVs in the U.S., including the GV60 Ioniq 5 and related models. When the ICCU is damaged, it can stop charging the 12-volt battery, which in turn may lead to a complete loss of drive power. In extreme cases, owners have reported sudden power loss while driving, an especially alarming scenario at highway speeds. For an EV positioned as a premium forward-looking product, failures this fundamental strike at the heart of consumer trust. When the core systems responsible for charging and basic operation prove unreliable, it raises serious questions about how ready this platform truly was for the real world. The 6th-generation Ford Explorer debuted for the 2020 model year and received a mild refresh for 2025. This is one of America's best-selling 3-row SUVs, a staple for families, fleets, and even law enforcement, where it's widely used as a patrol vehicle. It's everywhere, which makes the next question unavoidable. Why is Consumer Reports labeling it as unreliable? Yet the Explorer continues to struggle with a long list of issues. Transmission problems remain a recurring complaint, joined by climate control compressor failures, meaning no air conditioning when you need it most in the middle of summer. Owners have also reported driveline vibrations severe enough to shake the entire vehicle, undermining both comfort and confidence. Then there's the suspension. Some owners describe leaking struts with suspension fluid literally dripping onto the ground, never a reassuring sight on a modern family SUV. The driving experience doesn't do it many favors either. The turbocharged four-cylinder engine is often criticized for sounding raspy and unrefined, while the 10-speed automatic transmission is known for rough, jerky shifts, especially at low speeds in city traffic. The ride quality leans stiff and uncomfortable, and fuel economy hovers around 21 miles per gallon combined, which is hardly impressive for the segment. At some point, you start to wonder what else could possibly go wrong. Unfortunately, based on owner feedback, the answer appears to be quite a lot. The second-generation Volvo XC60 debuted in 2018, and in plug-in hybrid form, it looks outstanding on paper. In its latest T8 configuration, it delivers around 455 horsepower launches with shockingly quick acceleration and offers roughly 35 miles of all-electric range before switching to hybrid operation, where it returns about 28 miles per gallon combined. On specs alone, it sounds like the perfect blend of performance, efficiency, and luxury. Do you know why it appears in this list? Well, largely due to problems with the high-voltage battery system. These are not minor software hiccups or occasional warning lights. Owners have reported serious electrical system failures in the plug-in hybrid architecture. When those systems malfunction, the vehicle can become effectively undrivable, turning a premium SUV into an extremely expensive paperweight. The issues don't stop there. Owner feedback also points to electric motor problems, drive system failures, and climate control systems shutting down entirely. Adding insult to injury, many drivers describe the ride as stiff and uncomfortable, which feels especially out of character for a luxury SUV designed to prioritize comfort and refinement. What makes this particularly striking is the shift in Consumer Reports' stance. The XC60 PHEV once carried a recommendation as a strong luxury plug-in hybrid option. Now, based on updated survey data, it's labeled unreliable, a significant downgrade by CR standards. And it's worth remembering, Consumer Reports doesn't base these conclusions on a handful of complaints. Their ratings come from large-scale survey data collected from hundreds of thousands of vehicle owners. When CR flags widespread high-voltage battery issues, it's because they're seeing the pattern repeated across many owners, not isolated cases. With a starting price of around $61,150, this is a substantial financial commitment. When Consumer Reports says a vehicle at this price point is one you should avoid due to reliability concerns, that's a warning that's hard to ignore. The Chrysler Pacifica has been on the market in its current generation since the 2017 redesign, and over time its reliability record has become increasingly difficult to defend. It shows problems in nearly every major category, which is an alarming distinction for any vehicle, especially a family minivan. Owner survey data points to a long list of issues: transmission failures, engine stalling, steering and suspension problems, climate control malfunctions, and electrical accessories that stop working without warning. Add in reports of body hardware falling apart, brake system failures, infotainment and in-car electronics glitching, plus persistent noises and fluid leaks, and you're essentially looking at problems across almost every critical system in the vehicle. Real-world owner experiences only reinforce the data. One owner posting on Edmunds described a frightening incident with their 2024 Pacifica, which reportedly shifted itself into park and refused to move after just 380 miles. According to the account, the brakes locked, the steering wheel locked, and the vehicle completely shut down. The owner mentioned having 2 young children and said they were now genuinely afraid to drive the van. For a minivan that starts around $43,945 and is specifically marketed to families who rely on it for daily transportation and safety, this level of reported unreliability is simply unacceptable. When trust is the single most important factor in a family vehicle, the Pacifica's ongoing issues represent a serious failure to meet that expectation. And here it is, the last one on the list, the Chrysler Voyager. The Voyager was introduced for the 2020 model year as a more affordable stripped-down alternative to the Pacifica. Same basic platform, same mechanical DNA, just fewer features, and a lower price tag. Unfortunately, it also inherited the same problems, and in some cases, even worse reliability. The Voyager is plagued by transmission problems, steering and suspension issues, brake failures, and persistent glitches in the in-car electronics. Add to that ongoing complaints about unusual noises and fluid leaks, and the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. What makes this especially frustrating is that the Voyager is for all practical purposes a Pacifica underneath, just without the nicer tech and amenities. So you're not avoiding the Pacifica's reliability problems by buying a cheaper version. You're getting the same fundamental issues with less comfort to soften the blow. With a starting price of around $40,895, the Voyager may look like a budget-friendly family hauler at first glance. But when a minivan ends up spending more time at the dealership than in your driveway, that upfront savings can disappear very quickly. For families shopping in this segment, Consumer Reports data sends a clear message: when reliability is non-negotiable, the Chrysler Voyager is a risk that's hard to justify. That's all for today. If you found this breakdown helpful, we really hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss future uploads. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these vehicles surprised you the most? And have you had any real-world experience with them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Finally, this video is intended purely for educational and informational purposes, based on publicly available sources, manufacturer documentation, and general automotive research. It is not meant to target, criticize, or endorse any specific brand or model. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.